All right, happy Friday, guys. You know what? I'm pretty optimistic, and I'm going to share why. I think the Orioles have a really good chance to turn things around because of the way they won the game the other night, and because we got a doubleheader today. I'm going to get my hopes back up because I was just really thinking about what does rock bottom look like for the Orioles, and I feel like they finally hit rock bottom the other night in Milwaukee, where they take the road trip that doesn't get going. They lose the first two games, and they're about to lose the last game, right? It's just like, man, here we go again. And instead, they finally won a game that felt like, the 2023 and the first half of the 2024 season, where we're just going to find a way to win. I don't know exactly how, but we're going to find a way to win once it gets to the late innings. And they pulled it off. And because they pulled it off the way they did, and because Adley hit the 3-run homer to cinch it, Kittredge came in there and threw a good inning, and then they get the doubleheader today. So I'm going to get my hopes back up. They're 10 and a half games out of the wild card spot, 13 and a half out of first place. And if you just look at the roster and you look at the free agent situation, it is really, really imperative that they go on a run right this second, and the schedule sets it up for them. Because if not, people can do the other content on who they can sell. I mean, it doesn't take baseball savant here to look at the free agent, or excuse me, at the contracts and be like, yeah, so and so's up at the end of the year. We can trade him at the deadline. I want to go the other way, and I still think there's a chance that we can do it. They're going to have 4 games against the Red Sox here in 3 days, two today, one tomorrow, one on Sunday. Povich is going to pitch the first game. They haven't said who's pitching the second game as I'm recording this. I think it's going to be Charlie Morton. He was going to start last night. I think he's going to start tonight. Anyway, so they get 4 with Boston, then they get to come home for the White Sox and the Cardinals in the other order. Cardinals first, then the White Sox. It can't get much easier than that at home. And then they get to go out west for Seattle and Oakland. And it's just that would be the run is right there. So the way they won the game the other night, I think it gives us hope going into today. And I feel like we can pile on all the things that have gone wrong, but we can't fix it at this point. Or excuse me, we can't go back. You can't go back and make any retroactive changes here. So what do you do moving forward? So I'm going to go by position. What I think of each player right now, state of the Orioles. I have a really good feeling that we're going to turn this around. These guys are too talented, and they needed. I don't know if they needed it to play out quite this bad, but they really need a reality check of things aren't easy in Major League Baseball, and I have a great feeling they're going to respond. So here's what I'm thinking. Start at the catcher spot because that's where it all really starts. And Adley hitting a home run the other night, it's either going to propel him to finally get back on track or this team's never going to get back on track. Because if Adley doesn't get back on track, forget what you really think of the general manager and all the other decisions he's made. You can't look at this franchise and start to question whether or not we should have drafted him. That's going to make this rebuild impossible to finally come to fruition and win a World Series. I don't see how we win the World Series without him behind the plate. So Adley's still the guy. He's got to get rolling. It's really that simple. The backup catcher situation is a big mistake, but this Maverick kid, I like him. I don't know how you don't like him. So I don't care when Sanchez comes back, we have him. Basayo will be ready when he's ready. Is he a trade piece? Again, conversation for a different day, but Adley's got to be, he's got to be fantastic. He's got to be back to where he was, and he's got to do a better job of commanding behind the plate. The pitching, that was one thing we gave him credit for in the very beginning is, man, the pitching got a lot better when he came up there too. So I just need the confidence boost. I need it. We all need it, right? So Adley is the catcher. There's no alternative plan. I don't see any plan without him where this works out. The first base spot is the most interesting, the most controversial, the most you can have an opinion, and you're probably not wrong because Mountcastle is a professional hitter. I would like him to stay here for the long term. I think the platoon with him and O'Hearn works out perfectly. I don't want to change it. I think it works, great. And I think O'Hearn can get even more at bats against lefties because he's just been ripping the ball lately. But I don't want to move off Mountcastle in favor of giving Kobe Mayo all those spots. So I said it, God, over a couple months ago that I thought Mountcastle should be batting second. Like, just give him the opportunity to be the best hitter on the team. this team has a chance to win the World Series if Mountcastle is rolling. He's got to be one of your best hitters. He has the capability to go on a tear. He's been jerked around so much, and he wants to get paid, right? He's got one more year of arbitration, and then he's a free agent. So I don't want to move off him. I definitely don't want to move off of O'Hearn. The first base spot is the spot I feel the best about, just with professional hitters, no matter who they put in there. So the second base spot, Jackson's been awesome. That's been the bright spot. Him batting first is just a natural progression there, as Mullins just couldn't hold the first spot. I don't think that's the end of the world. And as far as moving Jackson to short, people have suggested that. I wouldn't touch anything. Just leave him at second base to finish out this year. If you want to make changes at the end of the year, that's one thing. But him batting first and playing every day makes perfect sense. And likewise for Gunnar, those two, the ceiling. I still don't think anybody knows what the ceiling is. So I think we just have to be super patient, let things play out, and be happy to have both of them there. And then third base spot, when Westberg comes back, he can have it, but it's going to take him a week or two. And he's awesome against the Red Sox. I don't know if you saw some of the statistics, but he's got like an amazing batting average against the Red Sox. He'll probably get to play all weekend long. I feel great about the infield. There's really that's a World Series infield. Like there's no other way around it. Compare it to everybody else, and I feel great about it. The outfield is where decisions have to be made. Kjerstad with I'm going to start with him because it was such a big hit to give us the lead. Ultimately, we needed extra innings, but he gave us the lead there with a huge hit. And I just think Kjerstad you have to give him the same rope that you gave Gunnar and Jackson. Like you have to do it. He's got that much talent. Same thing with Cowser and Westberg. We just have to eat it. There's no point to trade him. There's no point to talk about Stowers anymore. I promise I'm not going to do it. It's annoying, and it's Monday morning quarterbacking. So it just is what it is. Kjerstad's the guy. We got to have faith in him, and I think that hit that he had yesterday or the other day was a great sign. His numbers don't look great. Let's give him a minute. Just keep him there. Let him play every day as much as possible. Lefties, righties, it doesn't matter. He's got to get the same treatment that the other stars got. And the center field spot, Mullins, he's the guy that can get moved when Cowser comes back. If you think it's the right thing to do to move him, you should have either paid him or not, and he decided not to. Now it's turning out that maybe that was the better decision as he's fallen off a little bit. Still love Mullins, and while he's here, he's got to be the leader in the clubhouse. He's starting to really be a little bit more vocal, which is nice. Maybe you just bat him at the end of the lineup and let him play every day. Just keep him at ninth, so there's no pressure on him. I don't know about him in the middle of the lineup. I like him more at the bottom. Laureano's been such a bright spot, and there's no need to think about trading him. You just keep him there, and he can play until Cowser's ready, and that's it. The outfield has to produce a little bit more, starting with Kjerstad. The Tyler O'Neill situation is a negative one. It's hard to spin that one, right? Because the way the contract was written is if he's really good, he's probably going to leave and go hit home runs for somebody else. And if he's really bad, then he's stuck with us for at least next year. And right now he's struggling. He's injured. So at this point, you just let Kjerstad and Laureano take those spots. And when Cowser's ready, Cowser will fit in there. And you kind of you do with Tyler O'Neill what you've done with Kyle Gibson and Gary Sanchez. And it is what it is. It's part of the story. But as far as winning baseball games today and tomorrow and the next day, the team's good enough to do it. Batista's gotten his crap hopefully out of the system. He wasn't going to be perfect. That fits into the rock bottom, right? Because it's the same thing with Adley. If he's not good and Adley's not good and Gunnar, we're not changing the whole team. So it's one of these situations where these guys have never experienced failure like this. I mean, they've all been the best players on their team since they were little kids. If they were on losing teams, they weren't on losing teams like this. This is a disaster. It certainly is, but it's fixable. Because if you look at it, just math will tell you it's fixable. So they just have to start winning. They get 2 games a day. And when you go to the pitching, all right, so let's go to the pitching. You work backwards from the bullpen with Cano and Kittredge as the 2 righties. Plus Baker's been solid. Feel good about the righties. The righties, and even throw Sir Anthony in there. We can add somebody if necessary. You got Wells coming back. hopefully down the stretch to solidify the bullpen if you want to put him in there. It's the lefties that give you a lot of anxiety with Soto and Perez, trying to make sure. And, Aiken, I feel like he's the one that I like the most out of all three of them. But again, the guys are the guys that we have. There's no point to do the Danny Coulomb story again, so I'm not going to do that. And we'll see if we can get it done. And I would love to be in a position where we're right around 500. We can add guys and trade, whether it's Kobe Mayo or some of the other guys in the minor leagues, to solidify the bullpen and the rotation, depending on who's available, from Grayson and Bradish, and as I mentioned, Wells, to the guys that we have, right? Like, obviously, Eflin's got to be better than he was last game. And you got Kramer, and Sagano's been great. And this season's going one of two ways here over the next 6 weeks. So there's no more complaining or talking about Elias or the lineups. It's really like it's got to go one of two ways. They can't play this trade down line down the middle. They either are going to unload 5 or 6 guys whose contracts are going to be up, who other teams would love to have, and rebuild the farm system and just say that this year sucked, or they're going to go on a serious run and keep this team together and trade to add to the team and be like, you know what, we're going to make the wild card. Like, whatever happened earlier in the year, we thanked Hyde. It's not his fault. We got worse after him, but then we finally figured it out, got guys healthy, and now it's the end of July and we're right around 500. I think that's a reasonable thing to assume here that we can do. So it starts with this weekend. Got to win 3 out of 4, and then the schedule is really, it's giving us one more chance. So that's my thoughts. There you go. As far as the NBA, it'd be nice if the Thunder would stop screwing me over, because ever since the 42-41 against the Nuggets, they're the best team in the world, except like in the first half, apparently. Oh, they don't put. I don't know what's happening here to the Timberwolves, but they cannot figure it out in the second half. They just get blitzed in the third quarter, and it's absolutely like the Thunder take energy pills or something. I don't know, but they come out in the second half just with way more energy than Minnesota has these first 2 games. So it's cost me both times. Uh, is what it is. The Pacers Knicks game, I didn't get a chance to talk about it. It's like old news now, 2 days ago, but best game of the playoffs. These playoffs have been ridiculous. That game was unbelievable. That game's tonight. Can't wait to watch it. I'm just gonna go with the Pacers. I typed it out, but to just go on for a few minutes about it, the Pacers play basketball the right way. Like, I think it's that simple. The Pacers and the Thunder play basketball the right way. And what I mean by that is the best way to play basketball. There's lots of different ways to play, and I don't know if this is an opinion or not. I think everybody agrees. Whether you're playing pickup ball or it's the NBA, like, move the basketball. Like, the ball's got to touch as many people as possible, and you got to play as one. Whether it's like I said, you're 10 years old and you're playing, you're 50 years old and you're playing, or you're in the NBA. The teams that have the elite players that just dribble, 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 dribble all the time and are somewhat selfish with the ball, yeah, you can eventually win. Sometimes there's an outlier, but I think the teams that end up winning are the ones that share the ball. And the Celtics did a great job of it last year. The Thunder, they do a great job, even though Shea's the MVP. The ball really moves a lot, and they run all the time. But the Pacers play basketball the right way. And what I mean by that is they're the sum of all their parts. Individually, like, if you're just drafting guys to play ball, I don't know where their guys fall in. They're all like good, solid players, but they play as a team. Carlisle's done a great job. Halliburton's great. And what they did to the Knicks to finish that game, the last 3 minutes in the overtime, I don't know how the Knicks recover. I'm definitely taking the Pacers tonight. It might just be one of those situations where that game just kills them. That game might just make them lose 2 games. The Knicks are going to have to come back tonight. I'm taking the Pacers for the first half, taking them for the game. I love the Pacers. I love the way they're playing. I don't know if they beat the Thunder or the Timberwolves in the finals. I don't know, but man, great, great, great win for them. And yeah, I think that's about it. We'll do the Ravens stuff next week. I've just been a lot going on here. It was the last week of school, and we're moving, so a lot happening in my personal life. But I want to do the Ravens. I never really did the schedule. So I'm going to do that next week, and Maryland basketball. So that's coming next week. Orioles, I'm feeling optimistic. So enjoy the game. And if you're watching, enjoy the games, I should say. They get two of them here in a few hours. So have a great day. Have a great weekend. I'll see you guys on Monday.